Well, hey, good morning and welcome back to your weekly worship encouragement. Today I want to share a familiar story with you about a guy named Zacchaeus. And for most of us, we've probably glossed over this story as a children's story and maybe you haven't read it in a while. So before we dive into this, I want to give you a little bit of background information in case you forgot. Zacchaeus is this guy who is a chief tax collector, which means he's been a tax collector for a very long time. He is extremely wealthy, and most of that wealth he's made by serving Rome's agenda, and so the Jews there hate Zacchaeus, for a lack of a better term. So that's where we pick up the story in Luke chapter 19, verses 1 through 10. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay them back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. And when we read through this story, we find that Zacchaeus has a longing to be changed. He has a deep longing to be changed. And here's how I know that. From the story, we see that he ran to a sycamore fig tree. Now, a dignified man who was wealthy, such as this chief tax collector, did not run, ever. This would have been an incredibly shameful act in his day and age, and furthermore, he continued to heap shame upon himself by not just running to this fig tree, but then climbing it. Both of those things together is incredibly shameful for a man of his wealth and his social status to be doing. And so we ask, why did he put himself through this public display of humiliation? And it's because he had a longing to be changed, and he wanted to see and encounter Jesus, this man who he'd heard rumors about. He's never met him, but he believed that he could change his life. So there's 2 important things that we need to take away from this today. First, and most of us have something in us that we have a longing to change. In some cases, we want to be better at something, but in other cases, we need to get rid of something from our lives. And in those moments, and when we see these things that need to change, it's easy to make excuses rather than go through the hard work that we have to do. But whichever one it is for you, if you want to get better at something or something you need to get rid of from your life, ask yourself, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Just like Zacchaeus did. Are you willing to push through the fear, push through the shame, push through the discouragement, the failures, push through what the crowd says, and run to meet Jesus? The one who can make you a better leader, a better husband, a better wife, a better friend, and the person that he has ultimately called you to be. And this is so important, and I want to encourage you to do whatever it takes to meet with Jesus regularly. Because the second thing I want you to take from this story is this: that as worship leaders in this church, whatever your role is on this team, we have broken and hurting people pushing through fear, pushing through shame, pushing through failures, longing to change and running to our church to see and encounter Jesus. And by the power of the Holy Spirit, we have the privilege of pointing them to the one who can heal them, who can save them, who can change them, who can transform them into the person that he's created and calling them to be. And what a privilege that is. What an awesome and humbling calling that is. And what an encouragement it is to know that he is changing us from the inside out and making us into the people and the leaders that he's calling us to be for his glory and for his kingdom.